So I told you there is a mistake in it also. So just a minute, I'm searching for my document. The previous class was on
Monday evening, sir.
Monday, sir.
Okay, got it. So listen. So Newton's formula for speed of sound, we calculated using the isothermal condition, and that is what he proposed. Okay. But the major issue that the equation faced is, when it was experimentally calculated, we know that the speed of the sound is 343 meter per second in an air medium. But when you try to calculate it using this formula, right, it was somewhere around 278 or something. I don't remember the exact value. It was somewhere around 273 or 278, which exactly didn't match because there was an error due to this formula. Then there was a correction that was done to Newton's formula by Laplace. What he did is, he told that sound travels in a gas medium not under isothermal conditions, rather it travels under adiabatic conditions. Okay, let me show you. So that expression is what is called as Laplace correction. Write it down, guys. So the heading is Laplace correction. So what he told is, it travels under adiabatic conditions. So sound travels in a medium, in a gas medium, under adiabatic conditions. Right? If that is the case, then what should be the relation between PV? P into V. If I write P into V is equal to constant, then it is going to be isothermal condition. Whereas if I write it as P into V power gamma is equal to constant, it is going to be adiabatic condition. Am I right? So differentiating on both sides, what are we going to get with respect to dV? Differentiating on both sides with respect to dV, we'll get P into d by dV of V power gamma plus V power gamma into dP divided by dV is equal to 0. So P into, what is the derivative of V power gamma? Derivative of x power n is nothing but nx power n minus 1. Now you guys tell me, it will be gamma into V power gamma minus 1. Correct? Any doubt? Instead of x, I have V. Instead of n, I have gamma.
Sir, note, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, the first part, that is that P dV by d by dV into V gamma, sir. Sir, why you didn't add that V gamma with P, sir? Because you only differentiated with respect to pressure P only, no, sir. Then what
I
happened?
differentiated with respect to volume.
Yes, sir, volume only, sir. But you differentiated for P, right, sir? Then where did V gamma go, sir?
See, derivative of uv, d by dx of uv is equal to derivative v into du by dx plus u into dv by dx. You know this formula? This is called as product rule of differentiation. I use the same logic. So here, this is u, this is v. V power gamma completely is v. I use that logic. Now try to connect both, you will get your answer.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Plus v power gamma into dp divided by dv is equal to 0. Remember the other day I told you bulk modulus is equal to minus dp divided by dv by v. Correct? So
Yes.
I need to get that. So gamma, I took it out. Gamma into p into v power gamma minus 1 is equal to minus of v power gamma into dp divided by dv. Correct. Now let's try to do the manipulations that are needed. So gamma times P is equal to minus V power gamma divided by V power gamma minus 1 into dP divided by V. So V power gamma gets cancelled by V power gamma minus 1 V times. And here there is a dV. Look at this step and tell me if there is any doubt. So I assume there is no doubt. So gamma P is equal to minus dP divided by dV, and this V will come to the denominator of this, that will be dV by V, which implies gamma times P is nothing but what is this whole thing? It is the bulk modulus. Right? So let this be equation number 1. So when we use the dimensional analysis to derive the equation for sound, we understood that the dimensional formula, the speed of the sound in any gas medium is root times bulk modulus divided by rho. You remember last class we discussed this. The sound in a medium depends on the elastic property and the inertial property. So the elastic property of gas is bulk modulus and the inertial property is its density. So when the speed of the sound is root of B divided by rho, but what is the value of B according to Laplace? It is gamma times P divided by rho. That is why V is written as root of gamma P divided by rho. Where did we use this formula? This was the formula that we used in organ pipe. If you want, you can revisit and see. In the organ pipe, we use root of gamma times P divided by rho. Right? So now does it make sense?
Sir, could you show the starting?
Sure. This step?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So could you move a little down?
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Tell me.
Sir, how did V gamma minus 1 became V, sir?
It is V power gamma divided by V power gamma minus 1. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can I write it as V power gamma divided by V power gamma by V? Because V power gamma minus 1 is nothing but V power gamma by V. Then this V power gamma and V power gamma will get cancelled. If this V goes up,
How it came like that, sir?
it is Doda. This V power gamma minus 1 went to the other side in the denominator.
No, sir. How V power gamma minus 1 became as V gamma by V?
Adanda, see, V power gamma minus 1 is there this side. Right, this is clear. How you now you understood how this came, because I use the formula derivative of x power n is n into x power n minus 1. So derivative of V power gamma is gamma into V power gamma minus 1. Correct? If I take this whole thing to the other side, then there is a V power gamma.
Yes, sir.
Now this went to the other side in the denominator form. Now is it clear?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Right. So there's one point. So in this chapter, actually, they have removed fundamental mode and harmonics is actually not there, but There is no harm in learning it. I hope you guys didn't feel it as much tough, no? I hope the harmonics part is clear to you. The one we discussed in standing waves and organ pipe. Was it so tough?
Sir, it was not there in the portion, sir.
Just no I saw that. It's not there. So exam point of view, you need not worry, but I hope you understood the practical applications.
Understood.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. And there is one more topic that is deleted, which is Doppler's effect. So Doppler effect is also not there. Okay. So one last concept that is left out in this chapter is called as beats. BEATS. Okay. So this beats is not exactly the same as what we call it in musical terms. So write down the definition for it. Let me explain what it means. Okay. Okay, I'll do one thing. Wait, I'll take a photo and I'll share it with you. Just a minute. Listen. So write down the heading as beats. Okay. So let's see what exactly it means. Okay. So, but beats actually is a concept related only to sound. It is not applicable to light. Though we talk about waves, sound is also a wave, light is also a wave. But here beats is a concept which is related only to sound. Now the question is, how are we going to produce beats and when exactly is it going to get formed? That's what the concept is. So if suppose you have two sound waves, okay, and those two sound waves have to exhibit a certain characteristic, like their frequency should depend very slightly. Okay, if there is a slight different frequencies and they are traveling along the same path in the same direction in a medium. Okay, I'm repeating it again. When there are two sound waves of how much of slightly different frequency, which are traveling along the same path in the same direction in the medium, if they superpose upon each other, then the intensity means loudness of a sound. Okay, intensity of the resultant sound at any point in the medium rises and falls. Technically it is called as waxing and waning of sound. Okay, so what will happen is the intensity will wax and wane with respect to time, and that particular phenomenon is what is called as beats. Okay, so write it down first, then I'll explain it. Okay, so this is the definition. So I'm now speaking only in exam point of view, so understand. The periodic variations in what? in the intensity. If in the bracket you can write it as intensity is also called as loudness. It is also called as loudness. Loudness means how loud you are able to speak. Okay. And there is another formula which will not be there in this book. That is, intensity is directly proportional to amplitude square. So more is the amplitude, more is the intensity. So please make a note of these 2 points. Intensity is directly proportional to amplitude square. So I'm repeating it again. The periodic variations, periodic means the variations with respect to time in what? In the intensity of the sound caused by whom? Caused by the superposition. Superposition means getting added up of 2 sound waves of slightly different frequencies are what are called as beats. It can be a 1-mark question. Okay. So 1 rise and 1 fall of intensity constitute 1 beat. So the number of beats produced per second is what we call it as beat frequency. So what is this beat all about? Beat is nothing but increase in loudness, decrease in loudness. See, for example, are you able to hear my voice continuously?
Yes.
Right. Now see, I'm going to speak with increase. So if I try to shout like this, and if I try to speak soft like this, you're able to see the increase in intensity of the sound. You're able to observe the difference in loudness which I'm trying to speak. So now I'll speak loud. See, beat frequency. I'm trying to speak louder. Now I'll speak softly. Beat frequency. So this difference, this is what is called as waxing and waning. That is rise and fall in what? In the sound that you're able to hear. So what is beat frequency? It is the difference in frequencies of the 2 superposing waves. So there are 2 waves, no? Each wave will have a frequency associated with it. So the difference in the frequency of those 2 waves is what is called as beat frequency. Okay. So one more important point, this part alone is important. Now you can ask me a question. When I say there should be a slight difference in frequency, what should be the value? What is slight according to them? The question is, for beats to be audible, the difference in frequency of the 2 sound waves should not exceed 10. Means in 1 second, not more than 10 beats should be produced. If the difference is more than 10, we shall hear more than 10 beats per second. But due to the persistence of hearing, our ear will not be able to distinguish between 2 sounds as separate if the time interval between them is less than 1/10 of a second. So that is the reason why 10 beats are important. That is, if you are able to hear 2 sounds continuously, and those 2 sounds reach your ear at less than 1/10 of a second, you cannot call them. Your ear will not have the capacity to say that they're actually 2 different sounds. It will sense it as a single sound only. Means for you to identify something as 2 different sounds, the minimum time interval between those 2 sounds to reach your ear should be 1/10 of a second. So hence, beats heard will not be distinct if the number of beats produced per second is more than 10. Okay, because beats is a combination of 2 sounds. So let me show you graphically. You're able to see this graph, right? So in this graph, there is a continuous graph and a dotted graph, right? So there is a continuous graph and a dotted graph. So the dotted one is a different sound wave compared to the continuous one. Okay. So for you to visualize what it means, okay, let me try to answer in terms of max. Okay, answer in terms of physics itself. If I call this as the first wave, this as the second wave, diagrammatically, you're able to observe some difference between the first and the second wave, right? Right. If I put a question like this, which which is having more cycles in less number of time? What will your answer? More cycles means which wave is able to repeat itself for more number of times in a lesser time? First or second?
Second, sir.
Second. So when I say the second one is able to repeat itself more number of times, can I say it has a greater frequency?
Yes, sir.
Frequency means number of repetitions per second. In a similar context, if you observe this graph, is there not a slight difference in frequency that you are able to observe? Unlike the diagram that I drew, aren't you able to observe there is only a slight difference between the first and between the curved and the dotted lines? I mean, the dotted and the continuous curves. Right, the frequency difference is very small. I'll show you here. The red color line that I drew is a difference in the frequency. Is it not very small? When these two kinds of waves superpose, then the output will look something like this. And this is what is called as a beat. So I told you one thing, right? What will happen in a beat? In a beat, intensity will change with respect to time, correct? But intensity is a parameter related to which characteristic of a wave? Intensity is related to amplitude of a wave. If you observe, this is what is amplitude. Whereas if you observe the beats, what is that you're able to see? If you observe the beats, isn't the amplitude changing with respect to time? It is decreasing and then again it is increasing. It is decreasing and again it is going to increase. This is what is called as a beat. Okay, again I'll come back to the exam point of view. So the questions that you're going to get from this is, what is beat? You can say it is a phenomenon where there is a periodic variation in the intensity when two waves of slightly different frequencies superpose. Okay, another one more question. What is beat frequency? The number of beats produced per second. Definition of beat frequency is number of beats produced per second. The mathematical definition of beat frequency is difference in the frequency of the two superposing waves. Correct? Next. If they ask you to represent the beats graphically, then you have to draw this diagram and this diagram. Okay, this can be another one more question. Next. The last part that they can ask us, explain the analytical treatment of beats. Wherever you see the word analytical, it means a mathematical approach. Okay. Now see, what I'm going to do is, we will consider two harmonic waves of frequency V1 and V2. I'll take it as F1 and F2, where V1 is slightly greater than V2. And next important point is, both the waves have the same amplitude A. Okay. If you revisit the definition of beats again, the important condition that needs to get satisfied is different frequency but same direction. Okay. So if they are traveling in a medium in the same direction, then we can take the displacements of those two harmonic waves as y is equal to a sine omega 1t and y2 is equal to a sine omega 2t. Is that point clear? Is that point clear? Listen. So now tell me, guys, what are the two harmonic waves? Let the two harmonic waves be what? Y1 is equal to a sine of 2 pi f1 into t. Actually, it is a sine omega 1t, but omega is nothing but 2 pi f. Similarly, y2 is what? A sine of 2 pi into f2 into t, or It is A sine omega 2 into t. Now, what will happen to these two waves for the beats to be formed? They should superpose on each other. So, what does the principle of superposition tell us? Principle of superposition states y is equal to y1 plus y2. So y is equal to a into sine 2 pi of f1t plus sine 2 pi of f2 into t. Correct? A into what is sine c plus sine d formula? At least this time tell it right. 2
Sin A plus B by 2. 2 pi F1 plus
2
2
pi
pi F2.
f1 plus 2 pi f2 by 2 the whole multiplied with t into cos of
2 pi F1
minus
plus
2 pi f2 the whole divided by 2 into t. Right? Now, listen. So can I write this as 2 times a cos of 2 pi if I take out, can I write it as pi into f1 minus f2 into t? Okay, I'll not cancel that 2. Let's see what is going to happen. 2 cos of 2 pi into f1 minus f2 into t the whole divided by 2 into sine of 2 pi into f1 plus f2 by 2 into t. Guys, does this make sense? Right, I just did a mathematical manipulation, nothing else. I didn't cancel that 2. I'll tell you why I didn't do that. Because y is equal to, now see, both the input waves that we have taken are in terms of sine. So the output wave also should be in terms of sine. Then this whole thing, if I call it as a dash, like how I did in a standing wave, then can I call this as y is equal to a dash sine of 2 pi into f1 plus f2 by 2 into t. Guys,
Yes,
am I
sir.
right? So this is what is the equation of a beat, but don't memorize this because a dash you have to write what it is. So a dash is equal to 2a times cos of 2a times cos of 2 pi into f1 minus f2 by 2 into t. See, generally when I write 2 pi f into t, that 1 minute. Now listen. So whenever you write a wave equation, you write it as 2 pi into f into t, right? That f stands for the frequency of that particular wave. Now here, I wrote a dash is equal to 2a cos of 2 pi into f1 minus f2 into t. This f1 minus f2 into t is nothing but the frequency of the modified wave or the modulated wave. So that's called as f1 minus f2 by 2. That is the frequency of modulated wave. In a similar context, you will be able to find some other frequency. What is that? That is f1 plus f2 by 2. Then what can I call this f1 plus f2 by 2 as? This is what is called as the average frequency. Okay. Is it clear till this step?
Clear, sir.
Now listen. So for beats, what will vary with respect to time? Intensity will vary with respect to time. Correct? But intensity is proportional to whom? Which characteristic of the wave?
Amplitude.
It is proportional to amplitude. If you observe the equation of the amplitude of the beat, is it not a function of time? Okay, so here, now I'm telling you an important note, please make it down. If you observe the standing wave and the difference between standing wave and a beat, standing wave is also going to have varying amplitude, but in that case, instead of t, you will have x. You can go and revisit and see. You will have x. Whereas in the case of beats, you will have time, because here it is varying with respect to time. In the case of standing waves, amplitude will vary with respect to displacement. Okay. So since a dash is equal to, how much is that? 2a cos of, now I can cancel the 2 and 2. Pi into f1 minus f2 into t, correct? Pi into f1 minus f2 into t. Now a dash is maximum under what scenario? A dash is maximum when cos of pi into f1 minus f2 into t is maximum. Its maximum value is between plus or minus 1. From here, the story is similar to what we did in the case of standing wave. Cos pi into f1 minus f2 into t plus or minus 1 means what should be the general value of cos? You can revisit and tell me. Cos of zero, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, all these things. So it should be n times pi, which implies pi into f1 minus f2 into t will be equal to n pi. Pi and pi will get cancelled. So what is the value of t? T is equal to n divided by f1 minus f2. So t values will be equal to 1 by, actually it will start with 0. 0, 1 by f1 minus f2, 2 by f1 minus f2, 3 by f1 minus f2, so on. Right? So what are all these times? These are the times at which amplitude is maximum, because that is the condition under which you have derived it. Correct, Ada? Okay.
Understood, sir.
Okay. Now,
So here n means positive number, sir.
n is, it should be positive. It is not integer because time cannot be negative. No?
Okay, sir.
Correct, Ada? So this is the time. So what is the time interval between two successive maxima? You can take the difference between any two time periods. It is 2 by f1 minus f2 minus 1 by f1 minus f2. How much is the answer? It is 1 by f1 minus f2. Is it not the time period? So this is the time period of the beat. 1 by time period of the beat is nothing but the frequency of the beat. Then what will be the frequency of beat? It will be f1 minus f2. Am I clear? Is this not what I called it as beat frequency? Correct, Ada? Any doubt? Now comes another point. What is the condition for amplitude to be 0? That is, cos pi of f1 minus f2 into t is equal to 0. What should be the value of cos? Is it not odd multiples of pi by 2? Then pi into f1 minus f2 into t, is it not equal to 2n plus 1 into pi by 2? This also explained during standing waves. So T will be equal to 2n plus 1 divided by 2 into F1 minus F2. By 2 into F1 minus F2. Okay. So what will be the value of time at which you will have minima? You put n is equal to 0. 1 by 1 by 2 into V1 minus V2. Then 3 by 2 in, oh, not V1, F1, right? 3 into F1 minus F2. F1 minus F2. 5 divided by 2 into F1 minus F2. Correct, Ada? It
Yes.
keeps on going like this. What is the time between two successive minima? It is 3 by 2
1.
into F1 minus F2 minus 1 by 2 into F1 minus F2. Is it not 1 divided by F1 minus F2? This is the time period of the beat. Reciprocal. Frequency of beat is 1 by time period of beat. That is nothing but F1 minus F2.
Could you show the maximum for 1 second, sir?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So one last important point to be noted is between two successive maxima, that is between 1 and 2, there is a minima which is 1.5. 3 by 2 is 1.5, no? So between two successive maxima, there will always be a minima. Okay. So that's it with this chapter. We are done. Okay, that's the end of this chapter. End of waves from your CBSE point of view. So there is one more chapter that is pending, kinetic theory of gases. So I might do two things. I might see, because that's a lot of theory chapter it is. I might either record a video and upload it. Okay, I will record it according to subtopics and upload it. Or if I don't find time, then I need 2 more classes. Next week I will take a class on 25th and 26th, and I will close that chapter also. With that, we'll be done with physics, and you will have solid month for your exams. So in that meanwhile, I'll conduct exams for you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that's it, guys. See, I told you about that PVC pipe, right? I'll just show you. It will take only 2 to 3 minutes.
Sir,
Tell me.
sir, actually in last chapter you told the exam only about that derivations and formula. No, sir, like only in the last chapter. Simple harmonic motion.
Yeah.
You said you'll keep a test on
Yeah.
only derivations. Sir, but you asked what
Yeah.
definition also, sir.
Yeah, definition will obviously come there. Definition,
No, sir.
derivation, and formula. That's it. That's how you need to prepare. That is what physics is. So you have this thing, right? Elastic property. Where is it? Standing wave in an organ pipe. Where is it? This closed organ pipe is there. No closed organ pipe, open organ pipe. So with this principle, what I did is, so I hope you are able to see me. Okay. See, actually, there is a device, there is an instrument called as pan flute. Okay, you people would have seen what a flute is. If you take this as a material, there will be some holes, right? So that is not the one I'm trying to talk about. Pan flute is some instrument where these things will be joined together. You will have something like this. Actually, it is broke. Okay, you will have different tubes of different lengths which will be connected together. So what I did is I took the PVC pipe. Okay, it's a PVC pipe. You're able to see I colored it actually. It's a PVC pipe, and I calculated the length in such a way there will be a particular frequency that will get generated. See, for example, if I close it at the bottom and I try to blow, you'll be able to hear a sound. See? Are you able to hear?
Yes.
So if you take the sound and try to match it with some instrument, okay, if you take a keyboard or something, just a minute. So I've taken a keyboard. I'm trying to match the frequency. Now the tuning might have gone on all those things because it broke. Okay. So you're able to hear, no? See, these are all called as notes for those who don't know the musical language. It's just called as a note. So when you press a key, you're going to hear a sound. So that sound has a particular frequency associated with it. That's what we did in the organ pipe also, no? So organ pipe, I told you what is the formula that you're going to get: 1 by 2L or n by 2L into root of gamma p divided by rho, right? So that is going to get generated is going to have a common formula of root gamma p by rho. But what is changing? It's the length that is changing, right? So and frequency is inversely proportional to length. So generally on a keyboard, if you see, no, this will be lower frequency. As you move to the right, the frequency will keep increasing. So the one which I designed, you can actually click on any one of the notes and match it. I don't remember what frequency it is. Let me check. I have to check it. Actually, I kept a coin at the bottom. That also broke. Okay. It's actually not matching. I think it's not matching actually. But what you can do is that length, if you're able to match, you can exactly produce that frequency. So for those frequency, I went to the Wikipedia, I took all those data, and then I calculated and I did this. Are you able to understand? So how your physics is actually helpful for designing your, you can actually design your musical instrument. If suppose you want to design your own string instrument, what you can do is you can have some fixed ends, take a string of a particular length, just connect it across, calculate the length and connect it across, you can actually generate some frequency. You just try to pluck any string, you will hear some frequency. But if you want that string frequency to be in the musical frequency, then you need to do certain calculations. That's the only thing you need to do. Right? Are you clear? So,
Yes,
for example,
sir.
if I play this, it will be of higher frequency. See? This low and this high, because length is inversely proportional to frequency. If you can understand what I'm trying to talk about, more is the frequency, more will be the pitch. Okay, pitch has something to do with frequency, loudness has something to do with amplitude. Okay. So that's all the concept is. If you have any other doubts, you can message me personally. So that from my side, guys. Any other doubt?